Meteo, ready?
Henshin! Hello everybody, this is TechnicSage18 and I'm joined with
Adrien, and we're here for another episode of Toku Talks. This week we will be doing part 2 of Kamen Rider Fourze. We have to apologize for not posting this last week because we were kind of busy with school and testing
and you got
stuff.
sick.
Yeah, and I was in Las Vegas, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
so where we last left off, we just finished talking about the characters. So I'm just gonna look here real quick, and we're gonna be talking about the arsenal of Kamen Rider Fourze. And as you saw, what I was doing in the beginning, I was doing his partner rider, Kamen Rider Meteor, and doing his henshin sequence
very badly.
So first, we're gonna talk about the Astro switches, which are part of Kamen Rider Fourze's main arsenal.
So there are 40 switches in total, right? And there's 4 types. There's the circle version, there's the X version, there's the triangle version, and then there's a square version.
Each one corresponds to different Astro switches, of which Fourze will insert into his driver, and the weapon or whatever will appear onto whatever it corresponds to on his.
Yeah, well, circle's right arm, the X is the right leg, triangle's left leg, and the square's left arm. So usually when he starts the henshin, he starts off with the 4 main switches, which are the rocket switch, circle switch, and number 1, the X switch launcher, which is number 2, the triangle switch drill, which is number 3, and the square switch radar, which is number 4. And once putting that in the Fourze driver, which can use any of the 40 switches that Fourze obtained, he can transform into Kamen Rider Fourze and use those switches.
Pretty well said. The first day shown on the show on Kamen Rider Fourze was obviously switch number 1, which is the rocket switch, and it's actually used widely throughout the series in terms of like skill and attacking, boost in speed, whatever. And in one of the movies, he gained like a super version of it where he pretty much transformed into like the rocket and had 2 rockets in his hand. Where like
he was a carrot.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So there's
other like Astro switches that he had where every 10 switches he would get a transformation switch. And what I mean by this is that he would put it into whatever on his driver, and then he would transform into a different element or state of the Astro states or whatever.
Yeah. So, like, let's see. Switch number 10 was the electric switch. It gives him the power of electricity, makes him go fast, and has this weapon called Bill the Rod, which he uses to tase enemies. Number 20 is a fire switch, which is makes him into the ability to fire.
A firefighter.
And he has a thing called the He-Hack gun, which can launch fire as well as extinguish it. And then also he had the magnet states, which had switches 30 and 31.
2 switches actually.
Which was a phone, right, that he splits apart and puts it in his driver. And it uses the power of magnetism by using like the Fourze drivers, like the switches, they were really long, so like they were like controllers. Right, and it aimed his weaponry. He was kind of like a tank then. And then lastly, number 40, which was the cosmic switch.
It was the cosmic. Cosmic
switch. It was his ultimate switch, really, and it used all of the switches in order to combine, as well as the power of friendship.
But that was like at the like earlier. But then pretty much the power of friendship and. What came with this transformation, the cosmic switch, was the cosmic module of the Bearzen sword, where pretty much it was a giant sword, and it could pretty much open up. It can open up into like the actual sword part, and then normally it would be like a rocket. And for his finisher move with the cosmic switch, number 40, he usually just takes the switch and goes insert. Remove and insert. I don't know why, but he just did, and he was able to hack him up and cut him into pieces.
Beautiful. So anyway, continuing on with the switches, there's also a whole bunch of, well, there's, let's see, 36 other, or 32 other switches that we haven't talked about. All of them are useful, and all are used during Kamen Rider Fourze series, but like some of them are important, some of them are really weird, some of them he only uses once, and like one just for side things,
or just to pretty much help destroy the enemy, just like one of those things that just destroy the enemy.
Yeah,
you know?
like one thing only. So okay, he can have something as cool as a chainsaw switch, and then something weird as a flashlight.
So weird as a water faucet as a foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a whole lot of things too. He had like a pen. He had a medic pack. It was like, it's a whole bunch of things, but you can go search it up in your spare time. So,
in other words, they're just marketing campaigns so that children could go to their parents, be like, "Oh, I want this one."
Money. Oh, that's from another.
But that's
series.
another time. That is another time.
So anyway, let's go on to Meteor. So Meteor was let's see. He only had 2
Kamen Rider
switches in
Fourze's
total.
partner rider, and he's played as like Ryusei, one of the characters on the show. And at the beginning of Meteor's exposition in the show, Ryusei wanted to be very furtive about it and make it a secret. But then in one of the battles, he had to kill Kisaragi, but then like he was revived and all that, and people found out he was Meteor. And then at first everyone hated him then because he killed Kisaragi, but then became friendships and happiness and whatnot. And Kamen Rider Meteor, pretty much like that. And Kamen Rider Meteor could only be henshin by the power of Tachibana.
Tachibana's M-bus satellite.
Yeah, and later in the series you find out that Tachibana...
Don't say it! We won't say it. No, it's spoilers. So anyway, going on, Meteor had 2 switches, and they were just only changing states. They weren't really used much, except for activating limit breaks, as well as just limit breaks, as well
and other moves and such to help kill the enemy.
Yeah. So the Meteor switch was a standard switch, which allowed him to contact the M-bus satellite for him to know that he's gonna henshin. And then the Meteor Storm switch was after he henshin into Meteor, he could change that into Meteor Storm switch, or using the Meteor Storm switch and henshin into Meteor Storm, which allowed him to become really flashy, and
it was a pinwheel,
a spinning,
and it was very reminiscent to Beyblade.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it with that.
And usually he would have different switches. His driver had the ability of using Fourze's switches, but that was only used partially in the series. And he had different switches to correspond to different planets. There was the Jupiter switch, the Mars switch, the Saturn switch, and I think that's it.
Yeah. And then there's some other side switches, like ones that he used in movies to summon Kamen Riders, or special exclusive things like the Rocket Switch, Super 1 and Super 3. And there's a whole bunch of switches. I don't think we'll go on and on about it. But also, one important switch is the core switch, but we won't talk about it. We'll tell you about that later. Or you actually have to search it yourself.
Wow, that seems mean.
Well, no, we don't want to spoil the whole story, so yeah.
But remember, Toku Talks is just a way of us giving you information so then you can be inspired to go and search throughout the Google.
Mm-hmm. So I guess now that we've finished talking about the arsenal, we should go talk about the review of the series. So in the end, I thought Fourze was a good series. It's a great introduction if you're gonna start learning or watching tokusatsu, specifically Kamen Rider Fourze. It's it relates kind of to American high schools because it has football, and it relates kind of to school itself because it had so many cuts of people that you kind of would see at school. And yeah, it was kind of a good relation because I'm in school and he's in school.
We're all in school. I think that's a no-brainer.
And side fact, Kisaragi Gentaro is the youngest Kamen Rider. because he henshined when.
In terms of plot-wise, his actor is actually like averaged age with other Kamen Riders nowadays.
Yeah, but he was a high schooler. But yeah, if you're new to it, the plot and everything is very basic, but it's good enough to show you that, hey, this is Kamen Rider. Or this is like something.
And now, for my opinion on Kamen Rider Fourze, I thought it was an awesome series. It was the third Kamen Rider I'd finished, and at first it was pretty choppy. It was kind of boring at first, trying to get the plot into it. But then once you into episode, I don't know, whatever, you get really sucked into it, and the plot is actually really good, despite being about high school and stuff. Because the plot can get pretty deep at times, especially when I said that Kisaragi Gentaro dies. It really gets you right here, really does. And then really towards the end, it's pretty awesome, pretty epic.
Yeah. So, in the end, it's a good series. If you decide to watch Tokusatsu or Kamen Rider Fourze thanks to us, well, or any other review of it, then go ahead, watch it. It's a good series. It's a good starter to
especially if you're trying, as Adrien said, trying to get into Kamen Rider. Since it is the 40th anniversary, there were movies to help commemorate that. So I recommend watching those too.
Yeah. And so just watch that.
Watch it for our goddamn sake.
Just watch a little.
You'll make us proud.
And so I guess that's it for this review. We'll leave you off with Giant Step, and if you probably heard it now or you heard it earlier. But Giant Step was made by the band Astronauts, who did some of the action songs that you can hear in the background during the battles of Fourze. This song is
part
pretty
of the
upbeat.
Soundtrack, and I do have to say the Kamen Rider Fourze soundtrack isn't the greatest, except for Giant Step and Switch On and various others. But overall, the soundtrack isn't really one of the top. But Giant Step is really good, as you can hear right now, and it has a nice beat to it. It gets you exhilarated, and it makes you feel like you could take a giant step, a giant stride, go for your dreams.
So I guess this is it for Kamen Rider Fourze's review from Toku Talks. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Adrien /TechnicSage18, and I'm signing out. Thanks so much.
And I'm Satchit, Cosmos HD, and I'll see you guys in the very, 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 very near galaxy.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!
And all that whatnot.
Uchukita! Yep.